Only a little bit.
Got a little camera in there.
Indeed.
It's not that secretive, is it?
Just want an audio recording, really.
It's quite cool though. Where'd you get them from?
I just come on the internet.
Oh yeah. Do they record alright?
Pretty crap, but better than nothing.
Nice and warm in the glass houses, and I think let's go and have a look to see what we can find.
Yeah, I'm like eating elephant misfits, people say sometimes.
When do you work here? I work here now. I'll give you some money, Rose. You bring one? Yeah. Where are you going? To the bakery.
Ooh.
Nice and warm. You can see the glass are wet, the vents are open. Good growing climate.
I might have to on a bit.
Are the vents closed at night? Do you just open them in the morning?
No, it's all automated.
Okay.
So I tried to go for like 20 degrees on average,
Okay.
and at the moment, say like during the day you get the sun, so it's all free energy, the amount of snow heat going in, so the sun is warmed up pretty
Make sure
quick.
you can hear. Just gather around so you can actually hear Lenny.
Oh yeah, just a few more.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Get us through some minutes. Otherwise, we're going to be able to hear.
Welcome at Moffat's. My name is Lenny. I'm the production manager here at Moffat's. Most of you might have heard of Moffat's. We're quite well known for roses. Here inside we grow roses and phalaenopsis orchids. Orchids is really just a small crop we do on the side. We got in total 21,000 square meters of glass houses, and more than 2 hectares will be roses. Because New Zealand's a relatively small country, or there's actually not a lot of people, because it's a big country, so there's not a lot of people. We have to cater for everything and everyone. So we're growing around about 40 different varieties. All the plants are grown on hydroponics, and we use coconut fiber as a growing medium. There's different options, like rockwool is quite a popular one. Rockwool, and it's actually better than coconut fiber for growing purposes, because it stays better in shape over a longer period of time. The roses here we keep for about 5 years, and after 5 years the production will go down, the quality will go down, people get sick of a variety, so we have to replace it. So every year we have to replace 20% of the property, what is about the size of this greenhouse. There's 8 plants in a square meter, so there's around about 800 plants in a bed. We got them grown in coconut fiber, so we got slabs, they come from Sri Lanka. They got different grades. We got a slightly coarser grade, and that means that we got more nuggets in there, and the good thing is that it takes a little bit longer for the stuff to break down. It's still organic material, so the problem with coconut fiber that is that you really have to have a really good water management. If you water too often with a lot of small applications, then the wet of the slab stays too wet and will break down quicker. And that's not a problem for the first 1 or 2 years, but later on in the plant life, that will make that the slab is compacting, and you're losing all your oxygen in the slab. If you grow in rock wool, what I mentioned before, that is made from basalt, stone, it doesn't change the shape, so that keeps the air, the same air qualities as you had in the beginning. Therefore it's actually better. The thing is, after 5 years, you still want to take the roads out, it's getting too old, and then you got that same slab of rock wool. And in Europe they got recycling facilities for that. Here in New Zealand not. So there's some growers, they grow in rock wool, and said, now what do you do after 5 years? Now, dig a hole and put it in the hole. But yeah, that's not how it works. And some sell it to other farmers, and they just munch it up and they work it through the land. And for the farmer it can be quite good because it still holds the water, got fertilizer in it, and they usually get it for free. But yeah, it's really a short-term solution, and I don't think that it's very sustainable. Whereas the coconut fiber, after 5 years, the slab is getting skinnier, and it's still organic material, so you can actually just compost it. As you can see, these plants are very old. These are 8 years old and actually still here, so they on borrowed time. But it's 8 plants in a slab, and every plant got its own wee microtube. This time of the year they're getting about 6-7 times a day water. If they get water, they always get water with fertilizer. You can see there's quite a bit of water running off the gutter, and we got meters in place to see how much runoff we get. But all that water is going to the sump in the end, and it's getting pumped back into those yellow tanks you might have seen on the driveway. Inside the glass house, that is where the well is located, because we're using well water. But the water what we're collecting is getting recycled. Before it's getting recycled, it's going through UV first. There's different ways of sterilizing your water. You can do this with heat, you can do it with ozone, you can do it with UV, you can do it with peroxide.
Why do you need to sterilize the water?
Just to make sure it's like an insurance policy.
So, do you remember the Phytophthora that we've talked about, and Pythiums? What do they produce?
Waterborne spores.
Swimming spores. So the last thing you want is, and in hydroponics, Phytophthora and Pythiums are often issues. So this is one of the ways to prevent Phytophthora and Pythium. Okay?
Especially if you recycle, you can build it up really, really quick. We're actually just about to make some changes to the system, because the UV works brilliant. That is quite a safe way and an efficient way of sterilizing your water. But I said, if you do it with heat, you need a lot of heat, because you have to get the temperatures over 70 degrees and preferably higher than it. So you have to warm the water up and then you have to cool it down again. So you need energy for that. You also have to put quite a bit of acid in, otherwise you're going to get scale, and it's a lot of drama with it. Ozone, it's a bit difficult to measure it, it's a bit touch and go. UV, everyone knows UV, you know it gives you skin cancer, and the discolors your furniture. There's a lot of things with UV. The system we got is just a stainless steel tube. It's about 1.60 meters long, and it's got 9 light tubes in it. The light tubes are about the same, or they look the same as you got in your sunbed. The only difference is that it's still the blue light, of course. But if you got a sunbed, the lamps are made from glass, and here the tubes are made from quartz. Glass that filters out the UVA and B. With quartz that lets through all the UVA, B and C. So it will destroy the DNA, every living organism. The thing is that the water has to be clear enough, because the light has to penetrate, and it's also the exposure time. So if the flow is too fast through the tube, then it hasn't got enough time to nuke everything. So what I'm going to do now is, because in the past we've been just treating the drain water, and the well water is untreated. We've got an automatic 3-way valve, so we're measuring the water level in the recycle tanks. I know how much fertilizer I want to give, and then I can say, now, well, if I have an EC of 1.6, then 0.8 should be recycled water. And if my water level is really low in the drain tanks, means that it didn't give enough water, but then it can go down to say 0.2 of an EC, and then the rest is fresh fertilizer. It's all automated, so you don't have to do anything about it. But the thing is, the drain water can be quite murky. If you had a look, you can see those yellow tanks on the driveway on your way out, and there's a big box on top of it with hoses going in. We also installed it this year. That's just a filter to take all the debris out of the water. We got about 5 or 6 different sump pumps, and they're all pumping back into those recycle tanks. If you had some bad weather, there's a lot of mud and rubbish pumped around the place as well. So that's actually the first stop to get all the rubbish out of the water. Keeps the water in the tanks as clean as we can. At the moment, I've been struggling quite a bit with getting enough light through that UV. So what I'm going to do now is shift a bit of the plumbing and going to treat all the water. For example, the UV we got, that can treat 40 cubic meters an hour if the light density is 65%. So that's 65% light through. If the clarity of the water is only 50%, I can only do 25 cubic meters an hour. That's not a problem because we only use about 15 cubic meters an hour at the most. So if we're going to do the fresh water with it, that will bring the clarity of the water up much better, and then we might be able to obtain 65 to 75% light, and that's a much better result. Also with the UV, you have to be aware that if you turn it on, it takes about 3 minutes before it's fully effective. So it doesn't matter if water is sitting in there for 10 hours, the only thing is that the pipe will get hot, your water will get hot. But if you mix it in with the rest, it's not really a problem.
Where's the rainwater tank?
We haven't got a rainwater tank. Drain.
Sorry.
Rainwater is also a good option because that is actually better than well water. The well water we got has got quite a bit of lime in it, and it also contains quite a bit of bicarbonate. And bicarbonate, the problem with it is roses like the water to be slightly acid. So 7 is neutral, roses like about 5.2, 5.3. So you have to put quite a bit of acid in. So if you've got a lot of bicarbonate in the water, then you have to pour a lot of acid in and nothing happens. And you pour in even more and nothing happens. You put in more, it starts to go down a little bit. You put in a tiny little bit more and bang, it just drops dramatically. So therefore it's actually good to recycle as well because the butter is already taken out of the water and you get a much nicer control. Then you probably ask, how do you know that the UV system is working? One simple way, we take water samples for the fertilizer, and if you recycle, you have to do that anyway, because it is a bit like a big candy box. The roses always taking out the nice stuff, the easy stuff first. So they're taking all the Moro bars, the twigs, and they leave all the musty bars till the end, because they're not very nice. So every 2 months we take a sample out of the drain tank, send it to Holland, it's getting analyzed. And then you know from our well, it's getting a bit out of kilter, so you have to make some adjustments. We do the same for the diseases. We take the same bottle, send it to Holland, and they do a DNA test. So every disease known to men, to roses, they will try to check out what you got. So cylinder carpon is a big one in roses. Cylinder cladium, pythium. Pythium is usually always around. Sometimes Phytophthora. We don't do virus testing. There is viruses in roses, but there is none directly known for harming your production or quality.
So why do you think it's Holland?
Now we also got a consultant in Holland, so he gets the results. And I think because it is a bigger market there, they do it quicker and cheaper. And I think I'm maybe a bit biased, but I think they do it a little bit better too.
Yeah.
But Because here in New Zealand you got hills, laboratories as well.
So if the testing of the microbes is the pathogens, is that DNA testing? Or
DNA testing, yeah.
It's DNA testing.
And you just get a whole outline from what's in it, you know, what's not. So usually a sample from a dirty water and the water what's been through the UV. And hopefully both signs show nothing. But usually you always get a little bit of pythium in there, but that's not another big deal. Pythium is always a sort of a side effect. If you had roses in the flush, you take the whole flush off, and then the plant get a bit of a hit, and you will get some pythium. And quite often, if you have another disease, pythium always, it's a sort of for them pythium, they always hang around. So it's hard to get rid of that. You might ask, from why are you not having any biological control? We have practiced with it quite a bit in the past. Last year the production wasn't so good, the results weren't so great. So for now this year I have to make sure that I save my money and just try to keep everything as clean as possible. And the only way to do that is put in a bit more labor and unfortunately a bit more spraying. We had good results with the spider mite control, that's our #1 disease. Powdery mildew is also no longer a problem for us, because with water management you can actually control it really well.
Do you use sulfur as well for powdery mildew?
The legs are still there. It's more or less just a backup. If we expect some powdery, we can just run them at night for a few hours.
But most of it is through your sort of watering and the
Watering is the main.
And the venting
Yes.
things to stop that. Because remember, powdery mildew likes that really high humidity. So if you're venting, you can actually reduce the humidity.
And if you're growing too wet, you will also see more powdery. Too wet or too salty. Now in this grow, you know, I've given enough fertilizer or too much fertilizer, or given enough water or too much water. But then you can see which end of the scale you are. So with controlling it a little bit, we solve a lot of problems. In the past we used to spray for powdery every week. And I can't remember when we sprayed for powdery last. So. The biological control, what I was talking about, got a few problems. The mite control is good, and that's the biggest problem. But you have to look not at one disease, this is the whole picture. So you also have to think of aphids. If you spray every now and then, you won't see an aphid, because the aphid doesn't like spray too much, and they pretty much die from anything. But if you stop spraying, then a lot of diseases you never heard of, they come and have a look. If you grow capsicums, for example, then thrips control is very, very easy, because you got the pollen. Because you've got lots of flowers, got pollen, so your predator mite can live off the pollen. If you grow roses, the crop is already a bit different, because it's far more open, so the humidity is a bit of a problem, but there's also no pollen. So if you want to have good thrips control, you're just committed to introduce every 2 weeks more predators. Whereas in capsicums, you can establish a population very easily, very quickly.
So that's not economic.
So that is
do that.
for at the moment on this. No. So they're working on a package that you actually introduce the predator mites with some food to go. So you actually have something to keep them alive in between. That's not fully developed yet, and I just sit on the fence to see what's happening. That is definitely the way of the future, because that amount of chemicals coming available to us is getting harder and harder.
How do you monitor your insect populations in here? Do you have, do you put the yellow sticky things up?
No, because the rose is getting picked every day, and we got quite a few permanent staff, and they can see straight away on I
So it's
can
basically just,
smell them,
yeah.
but you monitor
It's monitoring
as
every
you go.
day
Yeah.
until you get to a point where you think, yeah, I need to spray.
Yeah, and you know where you might have had an outbreak in the past. Spider mite always likes the hot, dry air, so that's by doors, close to the main heating pipes. That's where your mites come. If you do biological control, that's also the hardest bit, because the spread the mites like slightly cooler temperatures, high humidities, so they don't want to come near a heating pipe or a door. But chemicals, there is less and less coming available. New Zealand is a small country. There is only 9 hectares of commercial rose growing in New Zealand. In Holland there is chemicals available for spider mite, just for spider mite, and they do a brilliant job. And for floriculture. I like to get my hands on those, but yeah, you're not allowed to bring it in. So most of the chemicals we use here have been used in orchards, in avocados, apples, you name it, and we just piggyback on them. To bring in the chemical, because I did look at it, that cost about $400,000 to get a chemical registered. So that's not really me.
That's a big problem in a lot of the small-ish crops, is actually getting those chemicals in, or getting them sort of later approval.
Yeah. But say with the biological control, the development is still going. Again, it's more or less the same problem as with the chemicals, because you have to get natural enemies approved as well. And it's not easy to get a little new insect here that they give the tick of approval in a few months' time for some gold plate. Luckily, the Phytoceras pessimilis, that's the one for the spider mite, that's been around for, I don't know, 50 years, just about commercially. And that has been proven very, very good for spider mite. For the trips, they got cucumeris. Cucumeris that's been around also just about as long as the Phytoceras. Works really well in capsicums. In roses, so what I said, you have to reintroduce them all the time.
What insecticides do you use for your...
For the main one I used is called Penetrant. It used to be Silmex, so organosilicate, and that's actually an additive. Farmers use it with herbicides to just get a better coverage. And just by chance I discovered that burns the skin from spider mite, from adult. So it's not registered as a miticide. It is much cheaper than a miticide, and that works quite well. But you have to do a follow-up reasonable quick. If you use Avid, you have to spray it, say, once, and then in 10 days time you have to spray it again. Whereas with the Penetrant or Silmex, you have to spray it, and then 3 days later you have to spray it again, because you only kill the adults. So if there's still X around, that will still hit.
So it's basically blocking it's really acting more as
You have to break the cycle.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with spider mite. Spider mite lives underneath the leaf. So you have to make sure that you get a good coverage. So if you go around with the spray gun and you spray everything like this over the top, then the spider mites, like here, that's an example for what spider mite looks like. They're sitting all on the bottom of the leaf. You can still see it's still running. Yeah, I've got some still running here. Depends on how good your eyesight is, but they are tiny. And normally, if you got a glass house and you go cold in the winter, so that means that you don't put any heat in. Spider mites, they do like temperature. So if it's getting too cold, the day's getting too short, then they will go in and diapause. So that means that it's sort of a survival form for the winter, and then you see the red mites appearing. They're sort of inactive, they don't do any damage. But as soon as spring comes along, the weather warms up and you get an explosion. Here in the glass house, we keep the glass houses warm year round. We also got the lights in this house. They're not going to retire because it's year round nice conditions, so spider mite becomes a problem for us year round.
So when you're bringing in new plant spies, you bring them in from overseas?
Yes.
How do you bring those in to make sure you're not bringing any pathogens with them?
We bring in orchids and we bringing in roses. The orchids they usually come with tissue culture, so they're just a little flask and agar. The roses they come as little plants, rooted cuttings. They have to go in quarantine first, and it's a quarantine period for 6 months. So we got a little quarantine facility that has to be checked out first, has to be MPI approved, and so they do a check at the border, and the plants have to be treated for fungus, they have to be treated for insects, that all has to be written down on the fiber certificate. So they look all the paperwork first, if it's all in check, and then they open the box, and 9 out of 10 they always find some carrot flies. Because if you grow a rockwool, then you always get carrot flies. But it's always panic, and you always get a different person at the border. So they close the box, and we bring them into Christchurch, but then they have risk management in Auckland. So usually it takes about 10 days before you get an answer and a treatment option. That means that they need to be dipped, and I have to say they're usually a little bit behind, because they always say you have to use an organophosphate, and you have to use this, and they have to be dipped for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, and a lot of the stuff, if they find spider mite, then you have to do organophosphate. You know it's not going to work, but that's what I want, so that's what you do. So once you get them, get the dipping done, they go into quarantine, and then once they start growing, that's usually after 1-2 weeks, the guy comes to do an inspection. You get 4 inspections total. We also do virus testing. I want to say virus is not really a problem for roses, but it might be for the grapes. So they just want to make sure that they don't bring anything else new into the country. Then on the end, they're going to do a phytoplasma test. They never found any phytoplasmas in roses, but they do the test anyway. To give you an idea, to bring in a consignment of new plants, that costs about $10,000 to get them cleared. Again, we can sell rose plants to other growers. If they buy a plant, they have to buy the plant, but they also have to pay a royalty. And the royalty is around about $2. So it's about the same as for a plant. You pay $2 for a plant, you pay $2 for royalty. So this house, you got about 40,000 plants, $160,000 worth of plants. But then again, there's a lot of crops you have to pay royalties per year, whereas here you pay it once. Maybe you want to grow it for 10 years, you can grow it for 10 years, that's right. But it's all upfront.
So then you just propagate what you need in-house.
Yep. And because it is a lot of hassle and it's quite costly, we have tried roses in tissue culture as well in the past. But the breeder didn't like too much because they never done it, and it is hassle for them, it's expensive. With the roses, if you do roses through tissue culture, the hormone level stays too high for a long time. So that means that you get a lot of shoots. And it's good if you want to propagate, but not so good if you want to grow big fat roses. Because then you rather have 2 or 3 shoots come up rather than 7 or 10. So that's another issue, and they still need to be tested for phytoplasmas. If you bring in orchids, they're cleared, then you can do whatever you like. With roses, but they still want to do a phytoplasma test after 6 months. So there is no easy way to bring in new stock.
You said that they check for scarlet fly.
Scarlet flies, yes.
Do you not have scarlet fly here then?
Yes, but I don't know if that's a different type of scarlet fly.
So do you have a problem with scarlet fly or not?
In Europe, no one treats with scarlet flies really, because it's never a problem. They always